You guys have been waiting for it, and it's here. That's right, the interview process has begun. I've chosen the 5 for today. Each of these 5 individuals is going to get 4 personalized questions. There's going to be 1 question that I ask everybody. At the beginning of every interview process, I will ask the same question and then follow it up with each individual and their 4 questions. So the 1 question that I'm asking everybody is, why did you choose the username that you use? Why did you make that the name that everybody on YouTube, the YouTube community, is going to recognize you by? What does it symbolize to you? What does it represent? What does it mean? Tell us a little bit about it and let us know why that is the name you wanted people to represent you with. Okay, so the 5 people that I've chosen for today are Marcus Noble, Solar Granulation, Denton USA, William the Mighty, and Raw Slade. So I'm going to start this off with Marcus Noble, your 4 questions, and then I'll follow down the list. So, Mr. Noble, we're going to start this video off with you. I've already asked the one main question, which was please explain your username, why you chose it, why you wanted it to represent you to the YouTube community. Now we want to get into a little bit more questions about Marcus Noble, the individual. I've gone over your profile, looked at the different videos that you have up, and pretty much all of your videos are you being represented by a skunk, the skunk puppet. You said in the very first video, in your introduction, that you were part of the furry fandom, the furry community. A lot of people have sort of twisted views or jaded views on the furry community. I've had my personal experience with the furry community. I know what it's all about, but I think there's a lot of people out there that don't. So why don't you tell us, the first question I have for you is, why did you join the furry fandom? What was it about the furry fandom that intrigued you and made you want to identify yourself as a member of that particular social group? That would be my first question. Second question would be, why a skunk? What is it about the skunk that you identify with? Now, obviously people are going to look at this and just say, oh, skunk, they're stinky and they smell and they're nasty creatures. But depending on the mythology of animals that you follow, if you go from a Native American one, if you go for Egyptian, if you go for Nordic, different animals have different representations. They are icons of different traits of people, or just nature, or humanity, or society, or what have you. So why was it the skunk that you were attracted to? What was it about the skunk that made you feel that this was a good personification of you? Now, it may not be that complicated. You may just thought it was a cute creature, and you wanted that to be you, and you feel like being silly. But that's a question that you need to answer to let us know. Let us know what it is about the skunk that you found appealing enough to have it represent you as an individual. My third question for you, I know these are coming out of rapid fire, but it's how my brain works, so I hope you bear with me. You are a member of the YouTube community. Obviously, you're putting up videos, and you have a relatively decent size. You don't have like 1 or 2. You've got like, 30 or so. Forgive me if I don't know the number directly. It's not something that sticks in my head, but I know that you have a sizable amount of videos that people can go through and watch. What do you feel about the YouTube community? Do you feel that there is a community? Do you feel that there's actually a community side to this website, or is it simply just a bunch of people that log in and watch videos? There's a debate that goes on regularly in rooms that I go in constantly, where some people insist that there is a YouTube community, some people insist that people are delusional when it comes to the YouTube community. What's your take on it? Let us know what you think about the YouTube website and the people that are involved. And the last question, and let's see if we can't make this one unique for you, because I don't want it to sound like I just sort of pulled questions out of my ass. Though technically that is kind of how it works, where you pull a question out of your ass to ask it. That's how it works. That's why it's called asking. Anyway, sorry. But the last question that I have for you, sir, is this. If there was one thing that you could do in this world, one thing, doesn't matter what it is, if there was one thing that you could do in this world that if you did it, you wouldn't ever have to do anything else ever again. What I mean by that is either an act, like a particular gesture, or a job. If there was one thing that you could do that would be your contribution to the world, you'd never have to do another thing again. That would be the one iconic thing that you, Mr. Noble, would do that everybody for the rest of the world would always know this is what Marcus Noble did. This is his mark on the world. What would that one thing be? So those are the 5 questions I have for you. Please respond. Let me know. You can either talk via the skunk, or if you want to come on camera and talk yourself, that's cool too. Either way, I'm happy. But I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say, so let me know. Thanks. Next up is solar granulation. Hey Solar, how you doing? Like the others, I've asked specifically your username, solar granulation. Why does it represent you? Why did you choose solar granulation as the name that you wanted to be identified by on YouTube? What is it about that concept that you feel represents you as a person? Is it simply just you know, a very colorful phrase that you thought would give people an idea about your creative side, or is there more to it? That's what I'd like to know, and I'm sure others would like to know too. So that's the general question. We've got that out of the way, so let's get a little bit more into you as an individual. You've only got 4 videos up, and that's okay, because you know, you're putting them out there, you're communicating with people, you're vlogging, you're giving us a chance to get to know you, even went so far as to bring your lovely fiancée onto camera with you, and you both talked a little bit, which I thought was very cool, being given the opportunity to see a part of your life that a lot of people tend to shy away from. People tend to be really, really, you know, timid when it comes to exposing those kind of personal facts online, because with the anonymity of the internet, people, there are idiots out there that will use anything that they can get their hands on as sort of an attack point. So I salute you for doing that. So the first question that I have for you personally is, you're an artist of many respects. You're a writer, you're a painter, you're a poet. Where do you find your muse? Do you find your muse in other people's work? Are you inspired by life? Are you inspired by your fiancé? Where does your artistic inspiration come from when you feel that you're going to write a story or that you're going to paint something? What brings that need out in you? That would be my first question. My next question would be, I see that you also have political interests. And being that you're from the UK, specifically, I'm not too familiar with the political body of the United Kingdom in a personal fashion. I have a general idea. I mean, I think anybody outside of other countries has a general idea because of what they see on television and what they can read on the internet. But actually being involved in that country's politics is the only way that you can truly have an understanding. So my question to you is, as somebody who has political leanings or political interests, what is your political stance? Is it related specifically to the United Kingdom, or do you have a more personalized view on politics? I know plenty of people that live in the United States that don't follow the Democratic Republican two-party. I mean, yeah, sure, you can get into the multiple parties of the Libertarian Party and you know, the Green Party and all that stuff, but those are all easily identified as, you know, and I know a lot of people are going to get mad at me when I say this, but they're easily identified as branches of the two main parties. Yes, I know there are plenty of people out there screaming, how can you say that about our thing? But the simple fact of the matter is that the idealism of those different parties can be found, aspects of those parties can be found in the two main parties. That's what I mean. I'm not saying that all Republicans are libertarians in the closet or something, or that libertarians really want to be Democrats. What I'm saying is that the Libertarian Party has aspects in the Democratic Party. That's what I mean by that. My third question for you, I know you're biting at the bit, just wanting me to get through these. I can tell you're sitting there hoping I stumble across a truly soul-wrenching topic that you can really get into. What is your future on YouTube? What do you see your future as a video blogger being on YouTube? Is this just something that you're going to use as something to pass the time with? Are you using this as a part of your artistic expression? Are you hoping to communicate with other people and make connections? What do you see YouTube being as a part of your life? What do you see your future with the website being? Do you plan on continuing to do this? Or is this just, like I said, a passing phase? It's something to do. You were bored. You happen to have a webcam. What's your interest in the website, and how does that factor into your future, as far as being a member of the site? And my fourth question for you is this. Being that you're a well-read individual, obviously there are different sections of stories and books that really inspire and touch you. Is there one quote in any of the books that you've read throughout your life on this planet that you feel personifies you as an individual, that it encapsulates your outlook on life? What is that? That's what I'd like to know. Thank you very much for taking a part in my interview, and I'm looking forward to your responses. All right, Mr. Denton USA, you're up next, and I hope you're prepared, because I know you. You're a crafty little individual, and I'm not going to let you slip through my fingers on this one. I've already asked the question, Denton, and you've heard me ask it a couple times. I'm going to ask it to you, just like I asked it to everybody else. Why did you choose Denton USA as the name that you wanted to have represent you on YouTube? Why? What was it about the name that screamed to you, hey, that's me? When people think of me on YouTube, I want them to think of me as Denton USA. What was it about the name? Tell me, I want to know. So does everybody else. Let us know what's going on. So your particular questions, the 4 questions that you want from me. I actually had the distinct pleasure of sitting down across the table from Mr. USA. I call him Mr. USA because it gives him a huge ego, because really, he's part-time weightlifter. You guys don't know it because of the baggy clothes, but he's yoked. It's true. But anyway, I sat across the table from Denton during the San Francisco gathering, and watched him get up and walk away and have lunch with somebody else and leave me there. But before he actually took off and left me stranded because he didn't want to have lunch with me, I had a chance to actually sit down and find out a little bit about him. And I think that there's some really cool things about him that you all need to know. So I'm going to ask him questions relating to that stuff and let you guys find out for yourself what he's all about. So number 1, Denton, why don't you tell me and everybody else who's watching this video how you feel about the Bush administration? I know you're going to love me for that, but I figure I have to ask because anybody who's ever seen any of Denton's videos knows that he's a really nice guy. I've actually watched him get a little irritated. That was a beautiful thing. So Denton, please share with us your experiences of the Bush administration. I know it was a cruel question and I apologize, but it's important that people find out that there's a lot to you as an individual. Second question for you, Mr. Denton USA. You have roughly about 20 videos on YouTube right now. I think you had more, but you took some down. And you're always doing something creative. You're going and trying new things. Now, I see YouTube for you as an artistic outlet. This gives you a chance to be creative. Is this something that only happens on YouTube? Is this the only time that you have that outlet, that burst of creativity? Or are there other things that you do? What are those other things, if they are? And if not, are there things that you'd want to do? Have you ever thought about maybe being a singer or a writer or an actor or something? Let me know, because I'm interested in finding out what goes on inside the mind of Denton USA when it comes to his creative outlet, his artistic expression. The next question I have for you, Mr. Denton USA, is, I want to know, Mr. Denton USA, of all the people on YouTube that you had an opportunity to meet, if you could meet anybody on YouTube, who would it be and why? Who do you feel is worthy of your time as an individual? There's obviously countless people on YouTube that are intriguing and interesting and inspiring. Who is that one individual for you? Now, obviously it's hard because there's a lot of people, but I know there has to be one person that really you'd love to be able to sit across the table from and have a cup of coffee and talk to. Who would that one person be? And why? And my final question for you, Mr. Denton USA, is this. You are a very good-hearted person. I know this. I've talked to you. I've met you. You're a very, very good-hearted person, very kind. I want you to be egotistical for me for one moment here. Of all of the things that you've done in life, what was the one thing that you're proudest above all else? What is the one thing that you've achieved in your life, the one thing that you've accomplished in your life that you can say completely with sincerity and wholeheartedly, I did this and I'm proud that I did it? What is that one thing? I'd like to know. Tell me what it is. And I know that everybody else wants to know too, Denton, so let us know. William the Mighty. That's who I'm talking to right now. You've had the opportunity to wait through all the other interviews knowing that I would come eventually to you, sitting there, holding your breath, hoping to God that I don't say something that's going to make you bite your own head off. Because I have that effect on people. I can inspire self-decapitation through chewing. It's just the kind of guy I am. But as I've asked everyone else, and I'm going to ask you the same question, why did you choose that name? What was it about William the Mighty that said to you, of all the things that I can be identified with on YouTube, I want this to be it? Why? Why did you choose that name? What was it about the name itself? Was it just a convenient title that you quickly grabbed? Was there a deeper meaning to it? Does it apply to things in your life that none of us know about? This is your chance to let us know. Tell me what it is about this particular name that made you think, this is what I want to be known as. Now, for anybody who's had the opportunity to go over William the Mighty's profile, you'll see that he's a lover of comic books, and specifically G.I. Joe, a man with a heart very close to mine, a child of the 80s, growing up on the Thundercats and G.I. Joe and Voltron and all of those wonderful, wonderful cartoons that we all we all grew up loving. So I'm going to start off with a simple question, William, because, you know, I have to, being that I'm a fan of the G.I. Joe series myself. Of all the G.I. Joe people, of all the soldiers in the G.I. Joe universe, who do you like the most? Who is your iconic G.I. Joe? Now, I'm typical when it comes to the G.I. Joe. Snake Eyes was always my favorite. Granted, it wasn't because Snake Eyes was a badass. I liked the mystery behind the character. That was what drew me to him. So, I used to be a huge Snake Eyes fan. But as the series progressed, and they actually revealed him, and then they turned him into something else, and then he was, I mean, they fuck with his history. Like any good, mysterious character, they have to eventually go into the history and then fuck up the character. So, that's my first question for you, sir, is which G.I. Joe character do you like the most and identify with the most? Now that we've gotten the simplistic crap out of the way, let's get into the real deal, since you've got 3 more questions coming from me. My first question for you is this. What do you do? And I don't mean for money, because it says on your profile that you work at Arby's, and that might be a joke, it might be not, but it's irrelevant. What do you do in life? When you look at yourself, what do you see? Do you see an artist? Do you see a painter? Do you see a sculptor? Do you see a politician? Do you see an auto mechanic? Do you see a philosopher? What do you do, my friend? What are you to yourself? I don't care what other people call you. I don't care what other people label you as. I want to know what you label you as. Who are you? Tell me who you are. What do you see about yourself that you feel that is who you are? I want to know. Question number 2. If you could live anywhere in the world, and I'm not talking about generalities, oh, France, Germany, Poland, Spain. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? Would you live in a small cottage in the middle of a rainforest in South America? Would you live out in the Serengeti? I mean, give me an idea of your dream location, someplace that you feel that you as a person could thrive, something that inspires you. I know that the people always say, "Oh, I'd love to live in the big city," but that's real general. Would you want to live in a lofty apartment overlooking the main square of the city? Do you want to live in an underground subway station that's been converted into a warehouse? Where would you, if you could live anywhere in the world, anywhere, not any city, but anywhere, any location, any place, an old rocket silo? Where would you want to live? What would be something that you felt was the coolest place you could ever live? What's your favorite pastime? Yes, I know that you collect comics. I know that you like trade paperbacks and whatnot. But what do you do that's unique to you? What do you do? I mean, everybody goes swimming. Everybody rides a bike. Everybody plays sports. But there's got to be something that you do that you've never heard anybody else do. You know, whether it's you go stamp collecting, or you go to old used auto parts shop to find classic hubcaps, something like that. What do you do that's unique to you that you do as a pastime? What is the William the Mighty pastime? That's what I'd like to know. And believe me, these are things that I think would really flesh out you as an individual to me. These are things that would be unique to you. And that's why I'm asking them, because I want to know about you as a person. I mean, your profile doesn't give me much as far as you are. I see that you love G.I. Joe. I want to know about you. If you could have one talent, one ability, one thing that you could do really well, even if it's something that you do right now, what would it be? And give me an example. Give me an idea, a personification of what you feel the best of that is. Like, for example, if you said, I want to be a writer, and Shakespearean sonnets are my idea of perfection when it comes to writing, what would that one thing be to you? And give me your example of what the best version of that is.
Mr. Raw Slade.
That's what
the ladies call him Raw,
because he's actually has exposed wounds on his genitalia. No, I'm joking. Hey, my man, how's it going? Just like everybody else, I'm asking the same question of you. You chose Raw Slade as your handle, as your name, as your identifier on YouTube. Why? Now, I could surmise that it's because it's a representation of your personality. You're raw, you're out there, you're in your face. We've had exchanges on Stickam plenty of times and gone back and forth and have insulted each other back and forth out of fun. And I've kicked your ass at poker many times. You know how it is. So I think Raw would be just a big open wound of a crybaby because he can't handle getting his ass kicked at cards. But that's just me. But why? Why did you choose Ross Slade as your name? What is it about that name that you felt would really pinpoint you as a person? Why did you decide that Ross Slade would be the way to go when identifying yourself on YouTube? That's the primary question that I'm asking everybody, and of course, I'm asking you as well. So now to get into the actual meat of this interview. The world is full of circumstances and situations that are pretty messed up, you know, and we as a society have this general reaction of complete and total blasé to those things. Things have to get more and more and more extreme before we as a culture actually are affected by it. We become so desensitized to things that, you know, things that once were shocking aren't as shocking as they used to be. You being a man of integrity and a man of understanding, what do you feel is an accepted thing or an accepted part of society that is a complete travesty? What is it about the world that we live in today? The one, and I know there's a lot of things, but what is the one thing above all else that really stands out that you look at every day and go, I cannot believe that this continues to be perpetuated? How do people allow these kind of things to happen over and over again? What is the one thing that you rage against more than anything else? That's my first question. If there was any fictional character that you could be, in books, in movies, in music, in poems, pick any medium whatsoever. If there was one fictional character that you could be, and you're not bound by the laws of reality, I mean, this could be obviously a science fiction book or fantasy or what have you, who would you choose to be and why? What is it about that one character that makes you say, I wish I could live that life or I could be that person? If you had the opportunity to do something for the person that you loved, I'm going to assume it's a romantic love, but it doesn't necessarily have to be so. If you could do one thing, if you were unlimited in one act, if there was one thing that you could do and do flawlessly and accomplish whatever it was to show that person that you felt the way you did about them, whether it be the love of your life, your brother, your mother, your father, your cousin, your best friend, if there was one act that you could take that you could do without fail, without flaw, perfectly, to show that person how you felt, what would that act be? Choose a word in the English language that you feel best describes who you are. And I know it's tricky, but there has to be one word, and I want you to be completely honest with me. The one word that you feel best describes who you are. Friend, heater, philosopher, shit kicker, whatever the word happens to be. What is that one word? I want to know.